Today on the Tim Marner Podcast Show for the second time, Ryan Standish, Sales Director of Graffinia.
No.
I think I might have said this last time. No, I'm not starting again. Sales Director of
Works Manchester
Image Group.
Yeah.
I knew that. But Ryan's also a bit of a philosopher, I say. Okay? So today we're going to talk about... Fucking Armitage is ringing me. Hello, Ryan. Yeah, it's just you're on the podcast, Ryan. So do you want to say anything to Standish while he's here?
You're live on the podcast.
Yeah, we're live on the podcast now. Is there anything that you want to say? Because you are meant to be here, aren't you? Because I was about to say that Armitage is meant to be here, but he's not.
Yeah, Standish, has that rash cleared up, mate?
I knew that wasn't going to be anything sensible then. I knew it.
Oh, no, I better go. I'll speak to you later.
Bye. So talking about Iron Sharpens Iron, that gentleman there, my friend Ryan Armitage and yours, sharpens my iron. So I want to tell you a bit of a story. So I did my mum's podcast, 50th episode, and Ryan watched it. And then straight after watching it, he rang me up and he said, Tim, you need counselling. In my heart, it was in my heart, my head, I'm just thinking, you need fucking counselling. Petulant child came out in me. You need fucking counselling.
We talked about this on the last one, parent, adult, child.
Yeah.
I don't need counselling. You need counselling.
And it's changed my life, mate. I've had 2 therapy sessions now. I've got a long way to go with it. But it's that having those people around you that are willing to bring out the petulant chat. You know, he's willing to risk his own friendship to me because I could have said to him, look, I don't want to be a mate anymore if you're fucking saying this to me. But talk to me about that, mate, about iron sharpens iron from your perspective, having the right people around you.
So it was actually an old Thai boxing coach that I had that used to say it in the gym. Iron sharpens iron. He used to say it in the class. So when he was talking about it, it was when you're sparring, you want somebody that is better than you, is a completely different style to you, so that you can test yourself while you're training. So the better your opponent, the better you become, the more effort you put in, the more you learn, the more you think, the more you try, the more you test yourself against these different people. That's where it originally came from. That's the first time I heard somebody say it. But I think as you kind of grow up, or whether it's with your friends, like you say, with Ryan, or in work, I just think it's applicable everywhere. Like, you know, there's a couple of people online at the minute that will say, hang around with 4 millionaires and you'll become number 5. That's kind of an extreme version of it for me. Yeah. I'd probably end up fucking skinned because I'd be trying to keep up with the 4 other millionaires and be like, so that maybe doesn't quite...
I understand that.
Doesn't quite resonate with me, that side of things.
Yeah.
But when you use it like you've just used it in terms of your close friendship group, like, I need people like you and people like Ryan and people like my wife that will call me out on my bullshit. And it would never be at risk of ruining a friendship, somebody calling me out on my bullshit, not with my real friends, because you know it's coming from the right place. Yeah. If some random bloke in the street or somebody that listened to your podcast that you've never met commented under that YouTube video and said, mate, you need some counselling, you'd be like, who the fuck's this guy? Yeah. But when it comes from somebody that you have that relationship like you do with Ryan, it means a little bit of something different.
How do you know the people around you are sharpening your iron? Because like there might be people out there, they've got a circle of friends. Obviously in my 20s, this circle of friends, I thought they were friends. How do you decipher if they're sharpening your iron or they're trying to get one over on you? Or
so you might not be able to tell straight away. Yeah. Seriously, might not be able to tell straight away. There's like, I listened to a podcast recently and there was a guy talking about it and he said that some people are only meant to be in your life for a season. They're not meant to be there forever. And the way he described it was sending a rocket up to the moon. It has these boosters on it, doesn't it? But then when that rocket gets to a certain altitude, those boosters fall away because they're not made to continue going where that rocket's going.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I love that, yeah.
So it's kind of like that, and sometimes them boosters falling off, it's a big fucking argument. It's well, I didn't fucking realise you were that kind of person.
Yeah.
You know, lie, cheat, whatever they've done or whatever has happened, you sometimes don't see it until they fall away. Or it might be, like I've seen it before where, like a friend of mine got to a certain position in work, and he had this mate that was clearly jealous that he'd got to this position in work, and rather than it be, mate, I'm really proud of you, congratulations, well done, it was kind of like he's fucking director now, are you? Kind of, you know, a bit like that. Well, that's you falling off now. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've never actually said this to Ryan, but it was something that I was thinking about on the way over. I think that trauma or people that have been through something significant in their life, whatever that may be,
like pure darkness,
is really sticky.
Yeah.
And I think even if you just pick trauma is sticky.
Yeah.
So you've been through some sort of trauma in your life.
Yeah. Can I just identify with you what you think trauma is? Now, I was really, you know, until I've started talking, and I thought trauma was like someone dealing with suicide or like being physically or, you know, sexually abused.
It doesn't have to be that though.
Yeah.
It could be somebody's been through a really bad bout of depression. It could be that somebody is in recovery from some sort of addiction to drink or something. It could be that something that is something that's fucked over your equilibrium, that's stopped you functioning in the way that you want to and should be functioning.
Yeah.
It could be absolutely anything.
Yeah, because I went to, obviously talking to the therapist and stuff, like at 7, my mum put me in boarding school. And unknowing to me, that's really traumatised me because I was abandoned and I was betrayed by my mum.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I started talking about it. And to me, that it seems quite significant because my mum had the best intentions out, but up here it seems all right, but in here it didn't feel right. Yeah. And it still doesn't to this day. So I'm trying to identify what trauma is, and there could be so little things that traumatise you.
That's your trauma.
Yeah.
But then, you know, there's hundreds, thousands, probably millions of kids that have gone to boarding school that didn't feel that way because they went to boarding school under different circumstances.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And who is anybody to tell anybody what is and what is not trauma?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was really struggling with it, mate, to be honest, at one point.
I bet.
I've got a really good grasp on it now, and kind of going, look, I have got trauma, and I've got to deal with it. Where before I was like, you know, talking to Ryan, I'm thinking, fucking hell, this lad's got trauma, and he's got every fucking right to have. So who am I to say that I've got it? Do you know what I mean? It's wrong me saying it because that's just my perspective, and I have got trauma, and I've accepted it, and I'm like, I need to deal with it, and I am dealing with it.
So there could be an argument to say that the trauma is not the thing that happens to you.
Yeah.
As in, it's not you actually going to boarding school.
Yeah.
It's what you going to boarding school did inside you.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Because she said it to me, like, we're doing a timeline of my life, and I said, I went to boarding school at 7, like that, and she went, Tim, you're abandoned. I was like, okay, yeah, mate, and it was like you've seen Gorilla Man, and it's not your fault.
Yeah.
And I went, and she went, you're abandoned, and it fucking just, boom, started crying. I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, like, wow.
But then have you found since then that when you've unpicked that a bit, whether it's with the therapist or by yourself, that you start to think.
I did it last night.
So that's why.
I
feel like
I did it last night, mate, for an hour. I turned the TV off because I saw something on Instagram, right, that hit me, the same thing. And I turned the TV off and I just deciphered it. And at the end of the hour, I just went to bed feeling mint. Yeah. Because I attached that to that, and that's why I was feeling like that.
Well, it's almost like you start to provide answers to your insecurities and to your anxieties and to the things that play on your mind constantly. Yeah. You're starting to get some clarity on where it's coming from.
It's
and
amazing,
what it means,
mate.
And why.
Yeah, it's changed my life. But, the point of it is, I would not be there if Ryan Armitage had not sharpened my iron, had the courage and been brave enough to say, look, Tim, you need fucking Watsy. So, in risk of him fucking, I don't want to be friends anymore. Right,
so pause that thought a minute.
Yeah.
So why do you think Ryan Armitage has got the skill to be able to listen to what you're saying?
Because he felt the same trauma in me that he felt in himself. He could recognise that darkness.
So this is where this stickiness of trauma comes in friendship groups.
Right.
You attract other trauma. I say to him all the time, Ryan's got this thing where
you're right,
he wants to help and he wants to fix everyone and everything all the time.
Yeah.
I've known the guy, 20 odd years. He weren't fucking like that when I first met him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You pick these things up, you learn these things, you develop an ability that, in my opinion, comes from dealing with something fucking horrific. You can see it in other people, and it gives you almost automatic empathy to help others when you think they're going through something similar, whatever the trauma is.
Beautiful, mate, isn't it? Mm-hmm. He's got a gift, hasn't he?
Yeah.
His real gift for me is putting people together. Knowing that Sally's been through that, I can put Tim together and stuff, and I see him do it with other people, and fucking sick, that.
Yeah.
Just having the right people around you, isn't it, mate?
Of course it is. But that's the same in, it's the same with your friendship group. Yeah. It's the same out here.
Yeah.
You don't employ, there's no dickheads work here.
No.
And if one of them managed to slip through the net, they wouldn't fucking last very long.
Yeah.
Because there's a high bar of quality in there.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to rise to a low expectation. So everybody holds each other accountable, sharpening each other's iron, questioning each other's work, challenging each other constructively, whether that's on a project or a website or even, I've seen you do it with clients. Tell me what you like about that branding.
Yeah.
All you're doing is sharpening them. Tell me what you like about that, because here's what I think.
Changing perspectives.
Absolutely. And that's what it's about.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Of course it is. Like, take it back to the first time I heard that saying in the Thai boxing gym. It's changing perception of how should I stand? Where should my hands be? How should I move? What should I be doing to counteract what he's trying to do to me? And do you see what I mean? I need to figure him out before I can decide what I need to do to become successful in this situation.
What's your biggest core belief as Ryan Standish?
What do you mean?
Well, as I'm going through this process, I figured out that obviously I was abandoned, betrayed. This is how I felt, right? Wasn't my mum's fault, but this is still how I felt. From that, it's my biggest core belief is loyalty. You've got to be loyal to me, and the behaviours, you've got to make me feel safe, and you've got to, not go behind my back, or that's my biggest thing. Obviously, I need to work on it because there's a lot of insecurity attached to it. I don't think it'll ever change. I just wondered what your biggest kind of core belief, value.
So, one of the things I struggle the most with, I'm a bad overthinker.
Yeah.
I think I said this the last time we had in fact, I've said it a few times to you. I'm a bad overthinker. Yeah. And I think that comes from when I was younger. My dad went to prison when I was a kid, when I was at primary school.
Yeah.
And I felt like everyone was talking about it, and everyone was talking about me and about my sister and about my mum and my grandma and do you know what I mean? I felt, and there's this one and it's burned in my brain, there's this one time, it was like playtime at primary school, and I didn't feel like doing anything, and I was just kind of sat on the steps just waiting for playtime to finish so I could go and get my dinner and, you know, get on with my day kind of thing. There's 2 dinner ladies stood like next to where I was sat talking about what had been going on with my dad. I could hear them. And I heard one of them go, "Isn't it a shame for him?" And they're both looking at me. I thought, you fuckers. You know what I mean? As a little kid, like year 5 at primary school. So I was I don't know what, 10? And it's burned in my brain. So I think that's where that comes from. Yeah. This like, almost like a bit of a need to please everybody, and a bit of a need to feel wanted and feel liked and feel popular and all that sort of stuff, which is fine. And I think as I've grown up, as I was growing up, I probably did that in a really unhealthy way. Do you know what I mean? But now I kind of recognise it. I have to almost take myself out of it sometimes and think, no, this is just... this is my chimp kicking off here, like, it's not reality, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or I'll read an email and think, well, what does he mean by that? And I wonder who else has seen this, and go down a rabbit hole with it, and I have to take a breather, and do you know what I mean? So I think, for me, I have to assume that everybody is a nice person until they're not.
Right.
And I think I've said to you before, and I've definitely said to Ryan before, every single person I meet, 100% has my complete trust until they don't. Whereas it used to be, I don't trust you until I do, or I don't believe you until I do.
Yeah.
I've had to kind of flip that round a little bit and kind of go, all right, I completely trust you until I don't. I completely believe you until I don't. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I suppose, to try and answer your question, it's... I have to believe that everybody is there for the right reason, to do the right thing, until they prove me otherwise, I guess, if that makes sense.
So would you say like trust is kind of your core belief then, your biggest one?
Yeah, I think so. One of them, yeah.
Because it's them little things. I mean, you know, I'll go back to my therapist, and Sally said something to me. She goes, "Look, Tim, like one of my biggest traumas is that I was in school and I adored this teacher. She's talking about this teacher. It was art or something like that, and she just held her in such high regard. You remember? And then one day, like I think she said she was daydreaming or doing something. The teacher brought her to the front of the class, lifted her skirt up, and smacked her legs. And she says, it traumatised me because the person who was meant to make me feel safe and once I felt really embarrassed and shame, and then second, the person that I was looked up to and almost betrayed me.
Just undone it all.
Undone everything
in one action.
In one thing.
Yeah. But that kind of thing, you know, when we were saying before about getting to a certain altitude and the boosters dropping off, or... you've 100% got my trust until you don't.
Yeah.
Those boosters falling off, or that loss of trust, can literally be one thing.
Yeah.
Like, literally could be one thing.
Yeah.
And that one thing doesn't have to be a big thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's massive for me.
Because it depends, again, it goes back to what your core belief is.
Yeah, I mean, that betrayal thing, you know, the loyalty thing, the betrayal thing, for me, literally one little thing, it can do, you know, I've done it before in the past. I've literally got rid of people just because they've, like, and it might be something really small and it's pretty insignificant and trivial, to be honest. But that one thing, because it's so solid in my core belief, I'm like, see you later.
Yeah, try.
See you later.
Yeah. Get it?
And I'm trying to change that a bit, you know.
But
to a degree, mate. When it's unhealthy, like what you say,
I was just going to say,
it's still, you know, it's still a massive thing. But there's times where, like, maybe Ryan will say something or do something, and to me, I feel it there. But really, when I think about it, it's like, no, it's just Ryan being Ryan, and it's like, and the unhealthy that what I was feeling, that's from little Tim's telling you that.
Yeah.
And I need to be aware of that and work on that, and then, you know, just kind of...
Yeah, I don't think it's about changing who you are to fit in with the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's figuring out your place in the world, and then finding the people that sit around it, and not the other way around.
Like you said, once you start putting out that frequency, like Ryan, you put out that, you kind of get it back. Yeah. You know, like you and what's it, you stick, don't they?
Absolutely,
you stick the people.
Yeah.
What's your biggest sort of thing sort of life lesson that you've had? What's the biggest sort of like cathartic moment in your life where you've thought, wow, that's been a real big learning curve for me?
Could have pre-warned me you were going to ask me that.
I didn't know. I didn't know I was going to ask
just
that.
Making shit up.
Just make sure. That's how you talk, don't we? Just like kind of what comes out. I just wondered if you like, you know, what sort of them moments in your life where it's kind of changed Standish's identity for the better.
I'll tell you one thing, right? I remember, and it is work related, but it's kind of not as well. Going back a few years now, it was the first sort of management leadership type role that I'd ever got. And I hadn't been doing the job for very long. And the organisation that I was working at announced that they were making some redundancies. And at the time, I used to head up like this, it was almost like an internal union thing, you know, like we're here for the employees. Yeah. So I used to head up that. I was a new manager, and the area of the business that I worked in was about to go through this redundancy process.
What pressure that?
So I'm a little bit like, fucking hell. Yeah. Like, this is a lot, because I've got the kind of the business side of things to deal with. Yeah. But then I've got the people side of things to deal with, which I'm also responsible for. And then somehow I've got to make sure I'm doing both of those things in the right way, while still managing a team, while still driving a performance and doing everything else. And the head of sales at the time, he pulled me to one side and he was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, yeah, I'm all right. I was buzzing because I felt so busy, and you know, I probably felt quite important, and I was playing quite a big role in what was going, you know, and I was like, fucking, oh, this is great, you know, I'm getting to be involved with this that I've never done, I'm getting to be involved with this that I've never done, and I'm helping all these people through this process, and da-da-da-da. And I said all this to him, and he was like, "Just be careful." I was like, "What's he fucking, what are you talking about?" He went, "Just be careful." He said, "Because when all this is over, your body's going to remind you that you need a rest." And I was like, fuck off. Like, thinking I was some fucking superhero. Swear to God, the consultation process finished, and all the decisions had been made, all the exits had been, everything was done from the kind of redundancy thing from the business I was in. That was all done. Then all the follow-up meetings with this kind of internal union thing, got all that done, signed off, finished. Got to the end of the month with my sales team. Target, done, finished, sorted. Walked out of work on the Friday. Woke up Saturday morning, fucked. Like, fucked. And it was as if my body had gone, "Well done, fucking stay in bed." And I was honestly ruined for about 3 days. Just felt awful, drained, knackered, ill, everything. And I thought, how the fuck did he know that this was going to happen? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So literally from then, that again has stayed burned in the back of my mind. Make sure that it's okay if you're dealing with all this stuff, but make sure there is that bit of shut us down, chill, forget it, get the rest, so that you can deal with the rest of it in the best way possible. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's that self-care, that rest that's stuck with me.
So that's why you changed everything up from...
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, you do a lot now, mate, don't you? You know, with the meditation in the bath and stuff, and, you know, the boxing and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, that was, honestly, it was mad. But then, historically, and I've seen it in different businesses, thankfully it's not the culture in my business, but this working every hour always on, always responding, always reachable, contactable. It's so fucking toxic. It is so toxic. And I'll say to my guys now, you know, I need you to be 100% when you're in the building. When you're actually working, I need you at 100%. And if that means you've got to switch your phone off at 6 o'clock on a Friday and not switch it back on till Monday, then that's what we've got to do. You know what I mean? And like, people should feel confident enough to say that in their own businesses. If you want me to perform at my best, you need to leave me the fuck alone at the weekend. You know what I mean?
I get it. Obviously, Ryan will tell you something different because he's got his own business and stuff, and he's on his phone. I mean, I've kind of done
but
it.
Whether he admits it or not, mate, he needs a switch off.
Yeah.
And he never fully switches off. I get it. He can't because he has to be there.
Yeah.
But he still does his cold water therapy.
Yeah.
Does his meditation.
Yeah.
Does his training. Does his running.
Yeah.
What happens if you ring him when he's running? I can't get hold of him, can you?
No.
So that's his bit. So I might need a day.
Yeah.
He might need 25 minutes to do 5K. Yeah. And he's all right, and that clears his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
1,000,000%, mate. 1,000,000%.
I'm
just thinking in my head how I'd go about it, but
every single person needs
that
charge point.
Yeah, I don't have as much. I know it sounds ridiculous, this, but as much pressure as you or as Ryan, because Betty literally answers all my emails. Gaz manages the thing, which allows me to just float about and do what I do best.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've got a certain time in the morning where I don't answer my phone, a certain time where I won't answer it at night. So I do it. And it's really important. Let me ask you this question. So that's a really significant part of you sitting on them steps and them two dinner ladies, right? They're talking behind your back and stuff. Does that come into play when you're at work thinking...
Yeah, I fucking hate it.
Like, what are they saying behind my back and stuff? How do you get over that?
I ask the question.
Do you?
Yeah.
Just straight up
I've
like...
got to ask the question. I've got to ask the question. Is there something you need to talk to me about? And I will ask that question, not in an aggressive way.
Yeah.
And I'll ask that question of anyone.
Have you got a problem with me? Have you got to say something?
Well, I wouldn't even ask it like that because I think that can be quite aggressive. Have you got some sort of problem with me?
Talk to me about delivery, right? Because like Gaz talks to me about it all the time. Like, Gaz is another person that sharps my iron, and we can talk, and we're talking a really, good level. And from who Gaz used to be to who he is now is totally different. He used to deliver it like a little bit like he's right in what he's saying, but the way he delivers it is not right. And
to you or to everyone?
To everybody.
Right.
Yeah. It can be a little bit different with me because I need that. I need somebody to shock my system like Ryan does, where I go, "Who the fuck are you talking to?" I need that to actually get over it.
See, but that was going to be my next point. The delivery would depend on the recipient,
right?
Because I've got friends like you and Ryan that I could say, "Mate, is there some sort of problem here? Like, do we need to have a conversation about something? Because I feel like you've got something on your mind. You're not talking to me about."
Yeah.
But if that was, I don't know, so like it's somebody in work that I don't know as well as you, then maybe the delivery would be a little bit softer. Do you see what I mean?
1,000,000%, mate.
It depends on who you're asking the question.
Yeah, it takes a leader to do that, though, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
It takes somebody
not necessarily a leader. It takes somebody with a bit of empathy and a bit of emotional intelligence. Because if I said to you, "Tim, you look like you've got something on your mind. Is there something you want to talk to me about?" You'd go, "Oh, mate, I'm sound, honestly, I'm a bit tired, whatever." But if I said verbatim exactly the same words to, one of my colleagues in work, they might be like, "Oh my God,
run away."
That could be deemed as me being aggressive with somebody. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe it's Joe Blogs. I'd much rather prefer that we were both feeling comfortable in what's going on in the office or what's going on with this project. Yeah. So if there's anything we need to kind of table or thrash out between us, let's have the conversation and make sure we're both kind of cool with what's going on. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
And they kind of go, well, actually, I got this email and I don't really know what you meant by it, and we'll have the conversation.
Yeah. You're good at that, aren't you? That's one of your gifts, that, isn't it?
I don't know, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I just think, communication and like being relatable and stuff, like you've got a really beautiful chameleon way about you, where you can talk to Charlotte in a certain way, where you talk to me in a certain way, and then you can transfer it into like, do you know what I mean? Not everybody can do that, can they? Have you thought about it before? You've got this like amazing little chameleon way about you.
No, I haven't, to be honest, because...
But you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for that other person, because you know that it's right for that person.
Well, possibly, yeah. I know what it's like to be made to feel like shit, so I will never intentionally do that to somebody else.
Very good, mate.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, fucking 1,000,000%. I felt that.
Like, I've been made to feel an absolute dick.
Yeah.
I've been in sales presentations before where the sales director sat back and gone, I don't even want to fucking listen to your slides, sit down, you fucking... And, like, you got a room full of your peers and you kind of like, fucking hell, that fucking... Yeah, that smarts a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's just that, isn't it? Like you said, it's them traumas and stuff like that that make you into the amazing person that you are. From you being felt like that, being traumatised and has now become you being this.
When I was a little kid, I put my hand on the iron while my mum was ironing. Fuck me, that hurt. Never did it again. It's the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
the emotional ones, though. I can deal with physical pain, me. You know what I mean? I put myself through the fucking ring. I'm like, look, I can. You know what I mean? But it's when she told me that we're abandoned, I'm like, fuck me.
Yeah. Honestly, so let's say me and you had a big fallout.
Yeah.
I'd rather you filled me in the car park than give me the silent treatment for 2 days.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't deal with
what's
going on, the uncertainty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Ryan said something to me that kind of hit me right in the what's it. And what I've learned to do now, I don't know if I'm getting old or whatever, I just said, look, Ryan, let me put the phone down just so I just need to process this.
Yeah.
It took me a day and then rang up in the morning and then I just had a really decent conversation with him. It's I love that about myself now, instead of not being reactive and fucking tearing someone's head if he doesn't deserve it. Because
could you have done that with somebody that you're not as close to Ryan with? Honestly.
I don't know how I'd be.
Or would that be the thing that made the booster fall off?
Yeah, probably.
Do you see what I'm saying? And this is why it's so important to have that group of people around you, because there will be somebody in your life. I don't know what the thing is you're talking about, by the way. But there will be somebody in your life now that you could not have had that conversation with. I guarantee it.
Yeah, you're right,
and that would have been the thing that you went, fucking delete that fucker. See ya.
Yeah.
Prick.
Yeah.
But because of that relationship,
give
me a minute, mate. Let me process this thing.
Never thought of that, mate.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
The list of people that you would call back is smaller than you think.
Yeah, it's really small. But it's about 5.
I reckon I could count on one hand my list.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, mate.
And those are the ones that sharpen you. That list.
Yeah.
That callback list. Whatever happens, I'll fucking call that guy back. I'll call that girl back.
Yeah.
You're thinking about your list, aren't you?
I am a little bit, mate, because I don't think I've actually put it down. I've always said I've got a small circle.
It'll change as well, by the way.
Yeah.
That list will change, because I think what a lot of people do is they attach their strongest friendships to time spent. Well, I've known him 25 years, so he's definitely my number one. I've only known him 3 years, so he's not on the list yet.
That's bullshit, that really, isn't it?
Yeah. I got 2 friends that I've been friends with. In my head, my whole life. One since I was 3, and Mr. Armitage since I was 16.
What is it that kind of sharpens your own iron? Obviously, you know, iron sharpens iron, but like you sharpen your own iron. Obviously, is it podcasts? What's the biggest thing that
I really like listening to perspective.
Yeah.
Now, I also like listening to how people articulate their own perspective as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. That's what I like about you, and that's what I like about Gaz. Because you both, now I said this to Gaz, he's almost, both of you are sages to me. You both give sage advice. And if I came to you, you kind of go, do, and I'm going, right, okay, right, sound. Perception, perspectives changed, love it, I can go ahead with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And what you're saying is like, you're listening to stuff that articulates stuff that you can kind of rationalise that point of view, that perspective.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense.
So like, I listened to a podcast with, you know, that Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, I watched that.
If you listen to it,
yeah,
where he's talking about kind of hitting his rock bottom and what he's done and all.
Was
that.
it with another actor?
Yeah. Real Ones, it's called.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
raw, that weren't it?
Very.
Yeah.
But listening to that then gets me thinking about a couple of friends of mine that are in recovery and going through.
Yeah.
Nobody's process is the same in that arena, I don't think, but it made me kind of think, well, I remember what that person said and how that made them feel, and he's kind of saying something similar but in a slightly different way, and I like how that kind of crosses over. And I think it then sort of, I feel like it equips me a little bit to be able to have a different level of conversation with another person that might be going through that recovery process.
That's great, that, mate, isn't it?
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I love it.
So, like,
I love that.
Like in that podcast, Shia LaBeouf says he's talking about the group, the meetings that he goes to, and he's absolute fucking killer statement and loved it. He said, "The reason I like it is because I don't have to go through the bang bang. I don't have to explain my behaviour and what I've done and why I've done it."
Understands.
They've all fucking done the same, done worse, done less, but no one gives a fuck. We don't have to explain the bang bang, and I love that.
Yeah, it's really good at that, isn't it?
It's like with your group of mates.
Yeah.
None of my mates have to explain the bang bang, and I love that.
Yeah, I love that as well. Never thought of that, mate. It's nice, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Knowing you're not on your own.
But again, you know, iron sharpening iron. I mean, I'm not in recovery, so I don't want to speak on it because I'm not going through that process. But listening to my friends that are going through that process and certain podcasts, reading certain things or whatever, we talk about iron sharpens iron. What about them guys in the meetings, whether it's, you know, alcohol, whatever, that group of people that support each other in that way, that is fucking iron sharpening iron. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody in recovery who has a sponsor, who holds them accountable, who is on the end of a phone, who challenges their internal beliefs, who challenges the thought, but like that is fucking iron sharpening iron. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fucking hell, mate. Yeah, I never thought of it like that, but yeah, that's what it is,
That-
isn't it?
that
That's why they're there, aren't they?
Of course it is.
With no judgment.
You talk to anybody that's gone through that process or is going through that process of recovery, they will all tell you that those meetings, those groups, those people is what keeps them on that path. People that have gone through the same trauma, that have got that sticky, I'll fucking have the conversation with you.
Been through that before, haven't we? I can recognise your frequency.
Exactly.
I understand what you've been through. I understand what you're going through.
Don't worry about scaring me
Don't
with your
worry
fucking
about
stories, mate. do you see what I mean?
Yeah, man. That's
what it's
powerful.
about.
That's
what it's about.
And with that comes a form of trust and loyalty.
Of course it does.
Doesn't there?
Yeah.
Which is what everyone's looking for, aren't they?
Yeah.
A sense of belonging.
Belonging, purpose, bit of clarity as to what's going on, relationships, bit of love.
Let me just shift the focus a little bit. What's your, I talked to you about my mushroom experience, didn't I? My mushroom ceremony, I've started doing psilocybin.
No.
Right.
You told me, I knew about the Campbell.
Yeah, I did the Campbell one. I'm doing sort of mushrooms. Again, want to sharpen my own iron, want to kind of have a look at little Tim and what shit he's been holding on to and stuff like that. I wonder what your thoughts were on it, on psilocybin, ayahuasca, this kind of thing.
So, I don't know a huge amount about it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I obviously know what it is. I know a couple of people that microdose, and they've kind of explained some of the benefits and that sort of thing. It's never something I've really kind of thought, maybe I should have a go at that.
Yeah.
You know, I've watched a couple of documentaries on ayahuasca. I, if I'm honest, I feel like I like the romance of ayahuasca and what my perception of what it will do.
Yeah.
But there's also a little bit of me thinks, what the fuck is that going to wake up inside me? Yeah. And fucking, do you know
before
what I mean?
I did it, mate, I was
a bit like...
I was petrified. Absolutely petrified, thinking I'm going to be sat in the corner in Sankey's, fucking paranoid to fuck, like people fuck. I'm just like... but it weren't like that. I kind of got there. There were 10 people in the room and 3 sort of space holders. And we had a little bite into the chocolate. One of my big things was control. So I'm just like lied there on my back, eyes shut. Okay, I'm like, this is how it's going to go, okay? I'm going to come up a little bit. We're going to have a great time. Colours, magical music, right? It just went...
Slap you across the face.
Fuck me, mate. One of the things got presented to me that I smoked a bit of weed, and this weed was really strong when I was 19. Totally forgot about it. I haven't a fucking clue. And I had a panic attack, and I had to leave a shopping mall. And I was just like, what the fuck? And it went there. And I was like, no. My breathing started going right back to the panic attack. And then it was there. I'm like, no. I'm literally...
You're not selling it,
I know, mate. I'm literally wanting to put my hand up and say, I need to get off this. Because mate, honestly, I am petrified of that feeling again. And it came so close, mate, that I couldn't do nothing else but accept it. Once I accepted it, it just went, poof.
Disappeared.
And this beautiful fucking feeling came over me that I was just like, wow. I've been holding on to that in my subconscious. If I sat with my therapist, I could not have told her that because I couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
But that traumatised me, that. And for me, the mushrooms have opened up my subconscious. I can't escape from my own bullshit. Yeah. No matter how big and great, I'm fucking nothing. I'm nobody. And that's what it showed me. And I was like, fuck it, this is incredible. It was the most beautiful experience that I've ever had. It was dark, it was horrible. At the end of it, it was beautiful. And ever since, I've been deciphering it. And there was a few things that have happened that I've told Sally and just said, look, what's this all about? Why did that get presented to me? And we've kind of unraveled it. And I'm on this amazing journey, mate, about like this thing. I love it. I honestly loved it.
And that's come from somebody saying to you, you need some fucking counselling.
Yeah. One of my circle sharpened my iron. And I was like, fuck it.
Brilliant, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been fucking mint, mate. I honestly I feel so much lighter. Listen, I've got a lot to go. And there's so much more, but I feel so much lighter. Just from being aware of it.
Well, that's it. I was just going to say, it might be a massive, great, big, long journey you're going on.
Yeah.
You're on it.
I'm on the fucking path, mate. What I mean? Yeah, I love it. But because I know you and stuff like that, and I know the what's it, I just kind of wonder what your thoughts were on the psilocybin and the mushrooms. Because I don't think you think it's not like that, mate. And at the end, we'll go back to the circle and recovery. Everybody at the end shared their experiences at the end. And there was so much similar stuff. You're like, wow.
I think as well, though, the backstory with mushrooms doesn't come from that place for me. So anybody that I knew or have known.
Stick it in Vimto and shit and fucking like,
We're going to make mushroom tea and trip our fucking balls off and eating mushrooms in Amsterdam and everyone's fucking wired off their head. Like that just doesn't interest me, any of that.
It's not that.
So I suppose it's changing my perception more towards... we went to... Dave Balfe did a...
Oh, did he a breathing session, did he?
Oh no, this was a while ago. It's about August time, something like that. He did like a men's only yoga thing over in Warrington. So it was on a Saturday. I was like, I'm going to go and see what it's like. And one of the guys that goes to that same yoga class I go to on a Monday, he went, and the rest of the guys in there, I'd never met any of them before. That GoPro Bry was in there. He was a fucking character, legend. So we're all in there, and we were just having a bit of a chat at the end, and it was like he did like this. I think it was like a 3-word check-in or something like that, and everyone's kind of did it, and we're all having a chat, and there's a guy next to me, and he said that he'd just started microdosing a couple of weeks before, and he was saying the same, like it's kind of opened up a different area of my head that I didn't know was there, and he was saying kind of to the group how good of a experience it was. But
I'm not sure on the microdosing, mate. I just because what I had was like a full-on macro dose, and I feel like if you microdose, it's almost like kind of you get used to. I don't know, but
that's what I mean.
For me, I was like I needed that kind of hit of a kind of thing to it. But I mean, one bit, mate. I was in there, my eyes were shut, and the 3 girls had these shamanic drums. They're just like boom, boom, boom. Fucking hell, you could feel it, man. And all of a sudden, my eyes split, right? Like that. At the bottom, I could see myself, the normal world and stuff. And then in the top view, there were like 10 tribesmen just like bouncing like that, looking at me. It's like I tapped into theirs and they tapped into mine. I was like, whoa, this is it felt like really tribal and like, I was like, whoa, yeah. Yeah, it was sick. But then fucking another dark fucking blanket came over, just like, not another. I can't be that fucked, can I? Can I be that fucked, really? I got shown 3 faces of what my impatientness looks like, my control, and like when I'm like, look, fuck it, I need to get the fucking. Like Ryan's exactly the same. When he wants something fucking doing, it needs to be now. If it's not, then
yesterday,
And I got shown 3 of them faces what it's like when I'm. So I ran to work 5 days later with a dog, and he's just sniffing, having a wee. I'm just like, fucking come on, you. I was like, whoa.
There's one of them.
Mate, in that moment, it was beautiful because I could recognise my bullshit. I was like, forget that. It's a fucking. I was just like, you just sniff, mate, and it's just like this sense of like, I just let it go again. This horrible like thing. I'm just like.
I was saying before. I think the world at the minute, everyone, everyone's got a bit of an edge. I think it's been an horrible couple of years with COVID and all that, and this is like, you know, coming to the first Christmas, everyone's allowed, you know, all that stuff, and weather changing, people's habits changing, everybody's drinking a bit more, eating a bit more, you know, all that kind of stuff that isn't always great for the body.
I never thought of that,
And I think, like I was saying to you before, I fell off my routine a bit this week. Like a couple of times this week, I've got up, opened the curtains and thought, I ain't fucking defrosting that car and driving to the gym now and get back in bed. Not realising that getting back in bed means then I've not trained, and I've not trained, so then I've not had my bath, and then I've not had my bath and not done my meditation, and before you know it, your routine's fucked, and then I'm waking up like a bear with a fucking sore head. And I kind of feel at the minute like everybody around, the window of tolerance is a bit smaller.
Yeah.
A little bit less patient.
Yeah.
You know, lots of little things going on. My delivery's not turned up, and my fucking plans have cancelled, and I'm supposed to be doing this, and my car's not started, and it's freezing, and I've not been to the gym. All these little things. And I think where everybody has this kind of tolerance level, I think when it comes down a little bit and people are banging their head on it, it changes the tone a bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people will misread an email or take something from a text message that you don't fucking that isn't actually there. And before you know it, everyone's like, "Well, what do you mean? Fucking what's this?" And he's fucking being a dick. And what's that about? And da 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 da. And I think having what you've just said to be able to go
recognise it.
I know what's going on. I'm just gonna take a little breather. You know what?
Lot to be said about that, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly the point I'm making. Exactly the point I'm making. I think it's really important, especially at the minute. And this, this is why I wanted to do this podcast, mate, because it's like, I know, us as a circle, we sharpen it, but I want everybody watching. I want to sharpen their iron. I want people watching this now to kind of, and change the perspective on stuff. Try and get the right people around you. Sharpen your own iron. Look at things and just kind of take a little, before reacting, just stop a little second. Do you know what? It's really hard. It is really hard. But there's so much to be taken from doing it.
Yeah.
I guarantee every single person in this building this week has read an email and gone, dickhead. Mm-hmm. Bang, dickhead.
Bang, straight off, bang.
But if you actually read it, close it.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's have a think.
Yeah.
Like, we used to do this. I used to do this feedback loop thing years ago, and it's like three perspective feedback. So you've got three people in a situation. So let's say me and you have had a bit of a problem, or I've not done something on a project, or whatever. Me and you have had a bit of a to do.
Yeah. So
there'd be me, you, and somebody completely out of the situation.
Mediator.
Yeah. No, not even a mediator. So me and you would do this together. So you got person 1, person 2, person 3, yeah? So you're person 1, I'm 2. 3 is nothing to do with the situation, right?
Yeah.
So you're person 1, you give your perspective. And we literally move spot. So then I'll go, now give me my perspective. So you'll go, well, maybe the way you're seeing it is da 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 da. Now, you're the person that's out of it. Now give them two people some advice. Well, I actually think you're being a bit of a tit and you're being a little bit emotional. So maybe the fix is XYZ.
That's sick, that.
Do you see what I mean?
I love that. Yeah.
But literally doing that and moving to the other spot and giving what you think is their view and my view and that person's view, you unpick it together.
That's really good, mate.
It's a bit extreme, do you know what I mean? But
it needs to be though, doesn't it?
Sometimes to get to the bottom of something, yeah. But that can be quite good, and that's just a more complex version of reading an email, taking a breather, and reading it again, and going, right, well, maybe what they actually meant is da 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 da. And if you're still unsure, ask the question. And it doesn't have to be a, what do you fucking mean by that email? It could be a, Tim, can I just clarify something? I've just read that email and I kind of think that means this. Am I right, or are you asking me something else? And then you might come back and say, well, no, what I mean is, all right, cool, let's move on.
What's your standpoint on, let's say, for instance, now I'm not saying this is my thing, right, but if I wanted Betty to look after herself more, obviously she's an employee, part of my staff, but I wanted her to do more exercise and start eating better and stuff like that. What's your standpoint on giving advice to your staff members? I know sometimes I cross the line, me, and I've got a bit of a problem with it. It's just because I care about them so much. I want them to do kind of more within the personal life to make them better.
There's a lot of different... there's a lot of... How can I word this now? I'm trying to avoid using the word caveat because it's a right dick word.
It's fine.
There's a lot of caveats to that conversation. So I'll give you an example. Years ago, when I was repping, I was a holiday rep. I was head rep for a while. And we had one member of staff that really didn't look after herself.
Yeah.
Now, bearing in mind, you're in Mallorca, it's boiling hot, you're running around all over the place. You can imagine how important things like personal hygiene is, yeah? So it was like, you're going to have a word. Now I'm thinking, how do you sit down with somebody and say your whole team are complaining about your personal hygiene? That's an awful conversation to have, especially if that individual is unaware that their personal hygiene is not where it should be. So what I decided to do was I bought a load of stuff and made a little hamper for everybody in the team, and did a little flyer to say how important it was with the temperature going up. Here's some nice shower gel, deodorant. Gave everybody one, and I was fortunate that worked.
Because you know what it feels like to be made feel shitty, where you sat on a step and somebody's talking about you behind your back, and you're not going to ever make anyone feel like that again. That's sick, that, mate, isn't it?
But that was an easy way to do it. You know what I mean?
It's the right way to do it.
Yeah, but you might be in a situation where you haven't got the money to go and buy those things or to get a flyer done or whatever. So it might be that you just sit down and you have a chat with the team and just say, look, it's getting really hot outside, guys. You know, what do you do for everybody in there that promotes, other than you going to the gym and eating healthy, what do you do for them that promotes that way of living, that lifestyle?
Yeah.
Because whenever you buy lunch, you buy fucking Nando's.
Yeah.
So get something healthier. Instead of taking the team out on the piss on a Friday, take them out for a walk, go up river. Do those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Attach the work things to something healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, your standpoint on, obviously you can do that within work, but you can't tell them to do something outside of, look, I'm not actually saying that I want someone to do this, but I think with people that have been here before, I've done that. Not with anybody now. And I've kind of crossed the line. Look, you should be doing this when you're outside of work, and kind of what's your thing on that?
I get it, because the way you are, you feel a personal responsibility for the people that work with you.
Yeah, I do.
But the reality is that outside of working hours, they're not your responsibility.
Yeah, I know.
In the nicest way possible.
No.
And it's great that you've got such great relationships with everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you talk to everybody outside of work. You do stuff outside of work. But it's not your responsibility.
Yeah.
You can advise and support and provide an environment that encourages that way of kind of behaving, of living, of whatever.
Yeah.
But at 6 o'clock, when everybody bounces out the door, mate, it's not your responsibility if, person A wants to go home and smoke 20 fags and drink 3 bottles of fucking vodka. It's not your problem.
Yeah.
Unless it starts to affect what they're doing in the business.
Yeah.
And then there's a conversation to be had, isn't there? If somebody's coming in, stinking of fags, hungover, knackered, no personality, feeling shit all the time because of their lifestyle, if it's affecting work, then that is a different conversation. What can I do to support you?
Yeah, it's good that, mate. I think I do struggle with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Feeling responsible for everybody. It does put a lot of pressure on me.
You're abandoned.
Yeah. I could know what it feels like to be abandoned.
So have to fend for yourself. Maybe there's a couple of people out there that you feel offending for themselves, and you want to help them out a bit. Maybe. Possibly. That's not a bad thing.
I know it's not, but it's
because
like
you're doing the same as me.
Yeah.
I don't want people to feel like shit, and if there's something I can do to stop them feeling like shit, then I'll do it. If there's something you can do to stop people feeling like they're on their own, then maybe that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it, when you talk about stuff?
Yeah.
It's powerful. It's really powerful, mate. Honestly, I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you, Sharp Iron coming on. I just want to keep talking and communicating everybody, and don't be scared to be vulnerable. And it's an amazing thing, life. It sucks. It does suck, but there's some beautiful times in it, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's it. We're gonna wrap it up, mate.
You would have made it all the way through without you crying.
Mate, honestly, recently I'm fucking crying on stage. Christ, but it is what it is. You know what I mean?
It's good.
It is what it is. It's
Let
good.
it out, mate.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. Thank you for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Tim Marner, what, you're branded with the best. Tim Marner, what, you're branded